I loved being with my brother. Everything seemed to be fun at that stage. It was joyous. The feelings that I had throughout that time, it was just a pleasure. It was also very interesting. I learned very rapidly from him. Of course, I wasn't in the same league as him intellectually, but I was smart enough to be useful, especially once I got older. I had regular dreams about a certain house that we lived in, and it was in a beautiful village on the edge of a lake. I think it was a lake, fresh water, so I assume a lake rather than a river. It was very sheltered, like a cove, with fairly steep hills in a semicircle. Anyway, it was a most unusual house in terms of the village that we lived in. The front of the house was wood, but the back was built into the hillside and included a high turret where Uran, my brother, my very famous brother, started doing his experiments. And that was, he started doing that before I was born. But when I was very young, I was not allowed up there because I was too young for that sort of thing. But once I reached about 10, Oren took an interest in me and would let me help. Help as in, as much as any 10-year-old could in fact help a genius with their experiments, but he made me feel like I was contributing. When we moved to the new big city that Uran had created, it was very exciting. But I do remember expecting that I would return to the house one day, even though, we'd packed up and we left, and we did actually return there occasionally for the odd nostalgic holiday. The whole village, in fact, was kept up like a museum to where we kind of started out as a civilization. Anyway, we moved on to the main island, which I would have been about 13. I had visited the place, Atlantis, while it was being built many times with Uran. He explained all his reasons for why he chose the location and all the changes he did to it before we were able to move over. After the move, I spent most of my time with my parents, basically because Uran had his hands full finalizing the setting up of his various universities. Then later, about 18-ish, I travelled with my parents and my brother to do experiments with plants. That was fun. Uran was a big part of my childhood because he was wonderful with me, and of course I had a famous brother, the genius who was profoundly changing our civilization. I was so proud of him. Essentially, he created Tantal, and he made the scientific advancements that helped us as a civilization to progress and to eliminate old age so people could live indefinitely. Well, as long as no tragedy occurred, like an accident or getting attacked or some weird act of nature, For more about what it was like living in Atlantis, especially during the early stages when Uran was the ruler, check out my channel and especially the ones on the history.